President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv. Why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader? And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. You should be asking him the question. I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. This appears to be an overwhelming abuse of power. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. Trying to intimidate a foreign leader. I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
There it is. Thanks for joining us here in the Bill Mason Show. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. I'm fresh off of a little break and tried to take a break from politics, but some of this stuff that's coming out looks like Biden's going to go up in flames. I don't think he can really get out from under this one.
Yeah, Biden's in trouble. Hunter Biden's in trouble. All the Bidens are in trouble. So a lot of emails coming out about what he's doing, smoking crack and prostitutes and then buying influence.
Yeah, that's I think that's the big thing. Like you could judge him on his character being the son of a senator, but obviously, there are other people that have gone down that road, and recovered. But what's unrecoverable is like selling this country and using taxpayer money and leveraging, foreign powers and having foreign powers be able to leverage you, which is definitely all the stuff they said about Trump, which is mind blowing now. It's all really what Joe Biden has done. Yeah. Everything they accuse Trump of is literally Joe Biden wrapped up in a package.
Yeah, I mean, months ago we played that video about the CFR video about him being prosecutor being fired. We had a show about that months ago. So, so it looks like Twitter and Facebook are just taking that stuff down. They're now letting this stuff out.
Well, even though it's like a well-known thing now, because Fox has been pretty heavy on it, but there's the alternative media too that has risen up, and it'll probably even get stronger now. There's Reddit and Parler and all these other places where this stuff's getting shared like crazy, and it really only makes the media look real bad. It makes the blurry line where they were journalists and then these were Democrats. Now it's all lumped in together where they might all go down together.
Yes, I hope so. Now we have every aspect here tonight. We have videos from the other side. We have videos of what's really going on. We have Trump Jr. later on that's going to spill it all out too as well. So there's a lot of stuff here tonight. But we're going to play Steve Bannon, what he talked about today. Let's take a look, okay?
All right.
We know the Biden campaign is watching. There's a lot more to come. And just remember, every time something comes out and you lie about it or you hide behind the Russia coverage, additional information is going to come out and prove you're liars. So for Tony Blinken and all you guys seeing your careers go up in ashes, just remember, there's evidence, emails, text messages, a lot more to come, and not just from the hard drive. There's stuff coming out all over, affidavits, other things from other news organizations. You're going to be buried in an avalanche of evidence of your corruption and how you've sold out America. You sold out America to the equivalent of the Nazi Party in the 1930s. That's what the Chinese Communist Party is. This is not about China. It's not about the Chinese people. The Chinese people are totally innocent here. Most decent, hardworking people on earth. It is their liberation that's the defining aspect of the first half of the 21st century. And you have been complicit in their slavery. You have stolen their money to make yourselves wealthier. Joe Biden and his family and Blinken and Sullivan and you guys are caught up in it too, okay? You have stolen the money from the hardest working people on earth that are enslaved by this totalitarian dictatorship that breaks the underground house Christians, breaks the underground Catholic Church, suppresses the Tibetan Buddhists, puts concentration camps with the Muslim Uyghurs. You have taken blood money to go out and you, Hunter Biden, to do your drugs and all your depravity Well, it's all going to come out in living color. Okay? All going to come out in living color. That money, sir, was stolen from the Chinese people in slave labor. Remember that. Stolen from them.
There you go. So, wow, he just put it all out there, didn't he?
Obviously. And the thing that he said, which, you know, we've been talking about all along, is that every time the Democrats point to Russia, it does them a disservice, because the more the evidence starts to roll in and they keep saying, oh, that's from Russia, and then it turns out to all point to the Biden family, and even as far up the chain as Obama, it makes them look like really, really deep liars. And it does two things. It empowers Putin, and it takes the focus off of China, which I think may be the backdoor plan, you know, to empower Putin by saying like, oh man, they're so powerful, they could do whatever they want to our election. They could just feed this information in and it goes whatever. But the reality is that now that the media has jumped on the bandwagon by censoring this stuff, and all the main Democrats like Adam Schiff, he's already out going, oh, Rudy Giuliani's a Russian asset. I mean, this is nuts, man. They're really scraping for anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, from Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, they're all scrubbing that. If you're looking for information, you won't be able to find it. Very small little bits and pieces, unless you listen to the Bill Mason show, of course.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to hide it. Like normally, we would probably title this show like "Breaking Hunter Biden" this or that, but we're probably gonna have to sneak it in and get, you know, people, our regular watchers to know. But you can't even post a YouTube video that says like, you know, here are the emails, because they'll just boop, shut it down. Yep.
So we're going to try to get this up. Hopefully this video won't be scrubbed. We will see. So we have Fox News talking about Hunter. Let's take a look at what they said.
All right.
So let me go ahead and break this down for you guys and give you the information. And these are shocking new emails that claim Hunter Biden introduced his father to a Ukrainian businessman who advised Burisma. Hunter was on the gas company's board while Joe Biden was vice president. The New York Post, as Brian just mentioned, obtaining the email written in April of 2015 saying in part, quote, "Thank you for inviting me to D.C. to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really been an honor and privilege." An earlier email also shows a Burisma executive asking Hunter for, quote, "advice on how you could use your influence on the company's behalf." The emails were reportedly found in a laptop at a repair shop. The store owner notified the feds, and it was later seized by the FBI. The owner could not identify Hunter Biden as the person who dropped off the computer, but says the computer had a sticker for the Beau Biden Foundation. Our own Peter Doocy clashed with Joe Biden back in September 2019 on his son's ties to Ukraine. Watch.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about it.
Joe Biden has claimed many times that he never discussed overseas business with his son. So those are the details that are coming out this morning.
Yep, and we know now he has talked to Hunter Biden about his business dealings.
I mean, I heard on it was a radio, you know, program that Rudy Giuliani was saying that some of the stuff that's on there it's not blatant, but it'll say in one of the emails with the Chinese Chi-Coms, it says, you know, 20% for H and 10% for the big guy. So, you know, this kind of stuff where Hunter Biden was kind of, like we've said before, the filter for the family, where Joe's dirty deals would go through Hunter, and then Hunter would pay for everything because Joe had to disclose his financial information for almost his whole career. So he had his brother. I mean, his brother's going down too. I don't know if, you know, that's one of the emails that got squashed too, about the Iraqi low-income housing deal that he struck for billions of dollars. I mean, the guy knew nothing about building or housing, and all of a sudden got like a major contract. I mean, all of this stuff, when Trump started to shake at the pillars, at the foundation of their whole operation, when he started pulling troops out of Iraq, that was one of the things that actually, when we think back, They were like, no, not yet, because they need to build that housing project for Biden's brother. I mean, they are so deeply layered into corruption that I think the whole family's pretty much involved.
Oh yeah, I mean we do have a Hunter Biden email here. We're going to show. This is about Burisma.
Right, from Pocharski. Yep.
Yeah. So as you can see in this email, it's of course influence. We urgently need your advice on how we can use your influence to convey this message. So he's obviously trying to get to Joe Biden.
Well, and also when it talks about right there in that first paragraph, to stop what we consider politically motivated actions, that's basically them at that time period talking about the prosecutor who was subpoenaing their bank records. Right. You know, that's what it was, and that's when Joe got involved. You know, Joe went over there and said, fire the prosecutor. I mean, all of this stuff is going to link up. Like, you know, Giuliani said, the timestamps are there. Like, they're not altered. It's all, you know, you can go date by date by date and say, oh, wow, here's part A, here's part B, here's the wrap up finish right here. And they have it all now. It's looking real bad.
Yeah, very bad. I mean, and we have Hunter doing cocaine, supposedly pictures of that. And then we also have a picture of this crack pipe here. So we have the supposedly raping Chinese girls.
Yeah.
And supposedly the FBI is investigating them just for that alone.
A special investigator has been appointed that only does crimes involving children. Right. So the fact that is under investigation signals huge red flag. Now, like for me, that's going down Hunter Biden as a criminal, you know, act, and yes, he should be punished for all that. But the stuff that Joe Biden is tied into, that he has lied for about, what are we going on, 6 years now about this crap, and he's just repeated the lie over and over again. So, you know, the Democrats are trying everything. At first they said it was fake, and then they said it was Russia, then they said it was photoshopped, and then now that they have Hunter Biden's signature dropping it off to the Mac store, now they're like, and then the best part is Hunter Biden's personal lawyer called the Mac store like right after this started coming out and was like, yeah, we're going to come pick that up. And he was like, yeah, that's gone. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, just listen to people know. I mean, this all started, he put his computer into a store to get fixed, and the store owner contacted the FBI to let them know I have some stuff on here that you probably need to look at. Yeah.
Well, the backstory, this is the best part, is that apparently Hunter kicked it into the bathtub. So it was water damaged. And he, you know, it was turned off apparently, but it was water damaged. He grabbed it out, dropped it off at the store, and told the guy to recover whatever you can off of this thing. So this guy's like, okay, I've done this before. You know, I'm going to dry it out. I'm going to, you know, whatever, take the hard drive out solo, you know, do this, do that. And as he's doing it, he's watching the news and he's going, wait a second, you know, I'm putting two and two together. Let me call the FBI. And the FBI had this thing and didn't want to do anything. But this is going back over a year when you had guys like Comey. I mean, you know, this probably didn't go far for a reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they covered that up big time. So,
yeah.
Let's take a look and see what CNN's saying about all this stuff, okay?
All right.
Of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Adam Schiff. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. Does it surprise you at all that this information Rudy Giuliani is peddling very well could be connected to some sort of Russian government disinformation campaign?
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now, that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son. And, you know, the idea that the president, that the White House counsel and others were made aware that Giuliani was being used by Russian intelligence and using Russian intelligence in the sense of meeting with an agent of the Kremlin and pushing out this Kremlin false narrative. The idea that they were knowing and still on the floor of the Senate during the impeachment trial, pushing this Kremlin narrative is pretty breathtaking. But I guess at this point, we can't be shocked by anything this administration does, no matter how craven. But clearly, the origins of this whole smear are from the Kremlin, and the president is only too happy to have Kremlin help in trying to amplify it.
It's not like Rudy Giuliani is peddling.
Oh, Adam Schiff.
The Russians did it again.
Always. I mean, that guy must have a hard time falling asleep at night knowing just that Russia exists.
Oh, no. Gee whiz. He's all about Russia, man. He doesn't like Russia at all.
I mean, it's between Russia and Trump. It must be like a ping pong match in his head. Which one's worse? But like we were saying before, we were just touching on that. The fact that they keep pointing to Russia as this like weird scapegoat, and it keeps blowing up in their face, and now the evidence is almost undeniable. And there are people even on the CNN side who know that Hunter Biden was dirty, and they're coming out and saying it.
Well, Russia's paying Hunter, China's paying Hunter, Ukraine's paying Hunter, everybody's paying Hunter.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the next CNN video and see what they say.
Okay.
Their policies, but Hunter Biden in many ways is a weakness for the former vice president because of his work. He was I'll call it out, he's a swamp creature, like many people, trading under his family name to make money around the world. But the way the president
Oh man, so you didn't even call him a swamp creature.
Woo, that was like a fart in church to those CNN guys. They were like,
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So-
that guy's gonna get suspended, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the funny part is that, like, we did a show where Wolf Blitzer is now, starting to see the writing on the wall, saying, you Democrats are stalling, you're doing this, you're not helping the American people. Now you have CNN anchors saying that Hunter Biden's a swamp creature. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're trying to make conservatives and GOP and Trump supporters, oh, they're the crazy ones. Look how nuts they are. Well, now it's kind of flipping 180, and I'm finally taking deep breaths where everybody that, before was a staunch defender of Biden saying, oh, he's got 47 years experience. What does Trump know? And I'm like, 47 years of robbing people, So now it's coming to light, and it's kind of like vindication for not only the Trump administration, but for the GOP and Republicans who were also trying to do what was right years ago that ran into the brick wall. Because when you had Barack Obama in charge, it didn't matter if a Republican came and said, hey, we got this fishy thing going on in Ukraine, because it was like crumple, 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 and it was done. It never went anywhere.
Right, exactly. I mean, so his Hunter's business associate is also flipping on him. So
Yes.
supposedly he has thousands of emails they're going to share with the FBI.
I heard it's in around about 26,000 emails that are communications not only between him and Hunter, but between, it's like where he's been CC'd in Burisma stuff and Bohai Associates and like all their other companies, and it's Devin Archer who is getting charged. So they went after Devin Archer, and they basically charged him with what Hunter Biden should be getting charged with. Mm-hmm. But he's like, hey, man, I'm not going down alone. So now he's flipping on Hunter because he sees he's going to get off being, the son of a senator. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to give whatever I can to get this guy in here, too.
Oh,
so
yeah. They're both going to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. But if he can get a reduced sentence for giving up 26,000 emails, I mean, he's going to do it. I mean, this is the other thing that I see starting to happen. I mean, as Obama gets implicated, as Hillary gets implicated, and Biden, we're going to see these people start to throw each other under the bus, man. Oh, yeah. And we'll find out who the real guilty button pusher was, because none of these swamp rats are going to want to all go down. So they're going to start giving each other up real soon, especially if Trump gets reelected. I mean, honestly, this is super important that Trump gets reelected, because imagine if Biden gets in office and just hits the delete button.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way about it. I mean, if Biden wins, it's going to be a cover up. Yep. If Trump wins, somebody's going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's take a look. We're going to veer away from the from the Hunter Biden thing to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, what they said the other day, and we'll go back to the Hunter Biden situation.
Yeah, those real Americans.
Yes, let's take a look at that.
That's a lot of jet fuel just to do a little flyover.
That's your hard-earned money and your tax dollars at work.
That stuff ain't happening with Kamala Biden ticket. I'll tell you that right now, partner.
Of course, they didn't know they were alive, of course, and
No, that was a hot mic situation.
oh yeah. So anyway, so supposedly they don't like flyovers.
Well, and they obviously don't like Trump.
Exactly.
Because that seemed awfully pro Biden Harris. And, you know, from knowing people that have served in the military, the flyovers are a dual purpose thing. They're very patriotic. The pilots that need their hours for certain things, they use that for that. And they also have to run those jets. Those jets can't sit on the ground. So they have to have a certain amount of hours in the sky. There's so many NFL games. There's so many things. They happen to use them. And it's very patriotic. And I don't know anybody who's ever been in the stands who sees those F-15 fly over and doesn't go, wow, man, that's impressive. So,
yeah. Well, not only that, it's a recruitment. They can say, well, one of these days I might be a pilot myself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, they're like, oh, that's our tax dollars at work. Let me talk about tax dollars. We'll talk about Joe Biden. Like
right.
how the tax dollars went to the Ukraine and then got funneled into his son's pockets.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Come on, man. All right, so we have Biden sniffing, too, as well. Let's take a look at this costume.
Oh, the hottest costume ever.
That's it.
What do you think?
I gotta have it. The kid sniffer. You gotta have it this year on your lawn. You know?
Yeah.
If this isn't the year, I don't know when it is.
Yeah, just in case anybody knows, Joe Biden likes to sniff people's hair and just people in general.
Especially kids.
Especially kids.
Especially kids.
Right. So let's take a look at the election. So it's only 13 days from now.
Yeah, shocking, man. It's really getting to the point where I can't believe that Joe Biden is, if anybody doesn't know what it is, when a candidate puts a lid on it puts a lid on their travel, it lets the Secret Service know that he's not moving, it lets camera people know that he's not doing anything. He is done. The debate tonight should literally wash him down the drain. Honestly, it's got to be the finishing move, because I can't understand why he's not out there campaigning.
Right. Well, the debate's Thursday, right?
Oh, it's Thursday. My bad.
Okay.
I thought it was tonight.
That's
bad.
okay. That's all right. So, I mean, you had me worried there because, you know, I'll have to get ready for the debate. I mean, there's
yeah,
dip and stuff that needs to happen.
Yeah,
you know.
I need it to happen too. And you know, my point was that, you know, up until this point, everybody in the media is going, Joe Biden's ahead by this many points in this state and this many points in this state. And meanwhile, he's pulling the Barack Obama card out and sending him into Pennsylvania. And Barack Obama is just talking trash about Trump. And it's weird that neither one of them, even when Obama speaks, he doesn't have any policy of Joe Biden. He just talks about Trump and the coronavirus, because everything else that Trump has did is not a detriment to this country. You know what I mean? So like, these guys, I don't know what their voters are looking for. Apparently it is anti-Trump. Maybe they stumbled on the fact that there's a certain percentage of people out there that are just anti-Trump. So they don't have to give them any bias or any reason to do anything. Like, they don't have to say they're going to lower taxes or help people. I mean, you know, this has become the I'm not Trump campaign.
Well, it is. I mean, people just don't like Trump, and then they'll just vote against him. They don't care what Biden represents.
Right.
So how many scandals do we have here? We have the Obama Gate.
Yep.
We have the Hunter Gate.
Well, yeah. I think Hunter Gate and Ukraine Gate and I think this is all tying in together. And now there's a CIA guy that we showed, you know, what was it, last show or the show before that? He was a Falcon trainer, okay, who worked with all these, you know, everybody from the kings of Saudi Arabia to the sultans of Qatar and all this stuff. And he rubbed elbows with all these guys, man. And it's becoming like they all knew that the raid on Osama bin Laden was a failure. And then SEAL Team 6 is coming out that like maybe they were killed. and the Stinger missiles that killed SEAL Team 6 came from Benghazi, and Hillary and Obama were involved in Benghazi. I mean, this is so terrible that it feels like everybody was asleep. And, nobody paid attention, but the media was so complicit back then that we were all lulled to sleep, so to speak, and didn't realize that this crap was like on a major treasonous level.
You're looking at 5 different movies there.
Yeah, seriously. I mean
it's crazy.
And like we said before, like the movie 2020 would have to be like 5 hours long just to sum it up, just to get close to what's going on. Right. And the biggest part, the biggest takeaway from this, I think, like personally, is that Trump showed not only the corruption in like the deep state and the existence of it, but he also showed how the state and local levels, the governors and these city mayors can make or break your lifestyle. Like they can ruin you, and that even though in the background they've been squandering your tax money, when it comes down to law enforcement, they're going to let these people burn your business to the ground. So I mean, Trump shined the light on all the roaches that were hiding in the walls, and now we know they're there.
Yeah, and they're squirming too right now.
Yeah, exactly. So
we need to have him reelected so we can get them in jail.
Absolutely. I mean, to prosecute the people that we definitely have evidence on, I think puts pressure on the people that are involved and think that they're going to be prosecuted, and they might come forward with information. So like, a classic, like when you want to go after like a drug cartel and you really don't have the big guy, but you have everybody in the middle. This is the reverse. They have the big guy. So what happens is the trickle down is everybody along the way that thinks, oh my God, I could be implicated in this. I really need to talk to somebody so I don't go to jail. That's going to start happening too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So next up we have Trump Jr. I mean, this is a 6-minute long video that spells out what Hunter Biden and the Bidens have done to the country.
Yep, a great summary.
It is. We're going to finish up on this.
Yeah.
And we're not going to come back, but I appreciate you watching this. So take a look at this video. It is eye-opening. Again, Trump Jr. Spelling out everything. Take a look.
Nailed it.
The Biden family is the most corrupt political family in American history. I can prove it. Joe Biden is terrified that you are about to hear the truth. I'm Donald Trump Jr. I'm the son of the President of the United States. I understand the pressure of being a prominent member of the first family. Trust me, I've gone through it all. That's why I can say with absolute confidence that Joe Biden's son, Hunter, is one of the most unethical humans in political history. Let me say first that I'm not here to attack Hunter Biden on his personal issues. I don't want to talk about how Hunter Biden was discharged from the Navy Reserve for testing positive for cocaine. I won't do that. I will not bring up Hunter Biden fathering a child with a sex worker at the same time he was dating his late brother's wife and then refusing to pay child support until a court ordered him to. The corruption in Hunter Biden extends beyond ethical concerns. It's potentially criminal. Don't just take my word for it. The U.S. Senate recently released an in-depth investigation into the Biden family corruption. You may not have heard about it because our media is actively trying to cover it up. Here's what they found. Hunter Biden leveraged his father's political power to sell out the United States of America to our enemies and enrich himself and the Biden family. Hunter Biden used Air Force Two to travel to China with his father for business meetings with top communist Chinese officials. Hunter founded and sat on the board of a private equity firm that raised $1.5 billion from the Chinese government via the state-owned Bank of China. Hunter was involved with communist Chinese nationalists who gave the Bidens millions in exchange for access to American companies that produced technology with our military. In 2014, Vice President Joe Biden took the lead on policy in the Ukraine. At the same time, Hunter Biden joined the board of a Ukrainian energy company where he made $83,000 a month. Around the same time that a Ukrainian prosecutor began an investigation into the levels of corruption at Hunter Biden's company, Joe Biden was threatening to withhold U.S. aid to Ukraine if that very prosecutor was not immediately fired from his job. The prosecutor was fired. In a speech to the Council on Foreign Relations, Joe Biden actually bragged about how he got that prosecutor fired by effectively blackmailing the Ukrainian government with taxpayer money.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money.
But Ukraine and China are just the beginning of the Biden family corruption. My father and I were famously investigated for Russia collusion. We, of course, did not collude with Russia and were fully exonerated. But do you know who was bought and paid for by the Kremlin? Hunter Biden. In 2014, Hunter Biden received a $3.5 million wire transfer from Elena Butyera, the wife of the former mayor of Moscow, who also happened to be one of Vladimir Putin's closest associates. Horrifyingly, according to a report from the U.S. Senate, Hunter Biden paid off women from Russia and other Eastern European countries that are directly linked to prostitution and human trafficking rings. It's not just Hunter getting rich off of Joe Biden's connections. Joe Biden's brother, James Biden, launched a healthcare company, AmeriCorps, that was later raided by the FBI after he fraudulently transferred over $500,000 from the company into his own bank account. James Biden also joined Hillstone International to secure a contract to build 100,000 homes in Iraq. Minor details. He'd never built a home in his life before. Maybe this is why everyone in the Biden family seems to have gotten filthy rich off of Joe's public service. Joe and Jill Biden have an estimated net worth of over $9 million. Hunter Biden and Jim, do you know what the fees are on just an investment of $1.5 billion like the one they took from China? In a typical fund, there's a 2% fee structure and 20% of the profits. The 2% fee of $1.5 billion is $30 million a year from the Chinese government. Quite a bankroll for regular old Scranton Joe and his working class family. The dark and complex interlacings of corruption within the Biden family has now been exposed with this incriminating investigation by the United States Senate. Did the Bidens' financial entanglements impact U.S. foreign policy? Of course they did. But did they care? Of course not. That was the plan all along. The Bidens didn't care about putting American national security at risk with criminal conduct and threats of extortion. They cared about getting rich off their public office. Fortunately, Americans are waking up, and they're not going to give the corrupt Bidens public office. We need someone who will put the interests of the American people over the interests of themselves. And that person is my father, Donald J. Trump. Without a doubt, the Biden family is the most corrupt family in American history. Let's end their corruption once and for all in November.